Courtesy of Kraft Body Scan.
Let's go to the Southern Christmas Show.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. Sunny skies and a high temperature this afternoon, getting up near 50 degrees. It'll be a windy one out there today, as we'll have gusts as high as 23 miles per hour. Heading into the overnight, the skies are going to remain clear, but that low temperature tonight is going to be freezing cold. We'll get down around 26 degrees. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
So happy to be here. Let me get my mic turned up just a little bit. So happy to be here on a Wednesday. I missed the last two, I believe.
It seems like it's been more than that, but yeah, we've been missing you.
I know it's been a long
Glad
time.
to have you here. It's
I know.
time.
I mean, it's since I was here, it was summer. Now it's winter time. So
It's cold.
but I'm glad to be here. Be back. Darren Campbell, sheriff here in Iredell County, and usually I bring a couple sidekicks along. Obviously, we've got Bill Hamby with me, and today we have Captain Dow Hawkins. We're going to talk all sorts of cool stuff, but I think probably the second part of the show will be a lot about our roundup, how we try to drive down crime rates. It seems like over the last week since we come out with our new stats, everybody said, well, how do you do it? Mm-hmm. And obviously it's not us, it's not Bill, it's not Dow. We just sort of lucky enough to be at the head of just the work of our deputies. And but if you'd like to, call in all throughout the show, 704-873-1400. We'd love to hear from you. Join us listen 100.7 FM in Statesville or 105.9, and you can pretty much listen everywhere else.
Everywhere else.
So, Bill, what's going on, or what's been going on?
Well, sir, it's been a very busy time here at the sheriff's office. As you know, we've had a lot of stuff going on. We've been trying to keep the wheels on the radio bus here on Wednesdays while you've been out and about going and coming. But
hey, it's working though.
Listen, I know you're working it. I know you're working it. I mean, every time that we get a call from one of our other elected officials, it's what Sheriff Campbell doing down in Raleigh, or what Sheriff Campbell doing here, or traveling. So. You wanna fill us in just a little bit about where your travels have had you in the last week or two or three?
Well, I've been in state for the last week. A lot of us working with the General Assembly, some of our legislators, and I like to throw them great bones. You know, we'll get a little bit of our Citizens Academy, and had one of our good legislators come by.
Yep.
And sort of, I think she done us a good job. She's got her show here, Vicki Sawyer, who does us a good job on the law enforcement side, helping us, along with our other Gray and Jeff and Mitchell Setzer on the House side. So. Been working General Assembly, a lot of policy stuff that affects law enforcement, new bills that's coming in, a lot of legal updates. One of the biggest things that's taken up in the last 3 weeks is the new basic law enforcement training outline.
I'm glad you brought that up, because we had some folks on not too long ago talking about recruitment and candidates and things like that. But the Sheriff Association and the Chiefs of Police Association, the Sheriff's Training and Standards and regular training standards in Raleigh are really at it seems to me like it, and I teach, so in all, keeping things transparent, I am a BLET instructor, and I know you've taught some stuff too, and Dow, you do some teaching. But I'm glad y'all are down there doing what you're doing, Sheriff, because they're trying to put some stuff in that don't necessarily need to be in a basic law enforcement training program.
You know, there's a lot of stuff that, in my opinion, and this is just Darren, and I can't speak on behalf of the president of the association, but some of the things that I was privy to, and they can't release it just yet because that's still doing it. But a lot of stuff that, to me personally, I would have got the air of the defund movement. A lot of points was brought in defund the police movement, and I'm gonna tell you right now, and me and Sheriff Jones from up in Caldwell County had the exact same thoughts. Is if I had to listen through this orientation, I would almost be ashamed of the profession I'm going in. And that's a good way to say it.
Yes.
Anything that's ever bad happened in one profession was all pointed out in about a 2-hour block. I'm more, I understand, we don't want to repeat mistakes from the past. But nobody's perfect. We're definitely not. And law enforcement in general, and neither is the courts, and neither is priest, and neither is anybody else. So, with that being said, that was some of the things.
And you bring up a great point. There are already enough checks and balances in the system.
Absolutely.
That why would you hash up things done 100 years ago, 200 years ago? Those happened, and we have to recognize that they happened. But now things have gone so far and modernized, and there's checks and balances within the system. And we've talked about it, and I'm sure we'll get into it with Dow here in a little while. But, even traffic stops, and everybody's like, oh, I can't believe y'all got that much money, or I can't believe y'all got that much stuff, or I can't believe y'all charge people federally. It all goes back to the initial law enforcement activity. And if it's not correct, then anything that follows that, as you said before, fruit of the poisonous tree.
Absolutely.
If it follows it and it's not right, I can't remember us ever being sued since you've been sheriff over a bad
Boy, you better
stop.
knock on some. Okay, got to break in 4 minutes. You better knock on some wood.
But seriously, I mean, because of the training that you allow us to get, the training that the state already has in place, it's taking care of those problems.
Well, and it also goes back to the officers. We work with funding to get the pay up to be able to attract the most qualified officers. I mean, I've told you before, we can always pay the lowest in the county, and we would get that level of officer.
You
We'd
reap
get
the benefits of that.
Yeah, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but I want to be able, if you're a victim of crime, if your mother or my mother or Dow, your family is a victim of crime, I want the best officer that I can find for the money to investigate that crime.
Sure.
And I think
you hold them to a higher standard as well.
And I think, sort of a little bit off, but we'll talk a little bit about the reduction in crime and our crime numbers and why that plays out. But you sort of talking about the BLT, Dow, you've been instructor there. I think it's going from about 700, and you know what? I could be low. Maybe
I think 660 is the minimum
up over
now.
800,
Yeah.
and a lot of it is continuing ed hours. People make money off that. Instructors make money off of it. I want a good, qualified peace officer to come out and be able to uphold the laws of the state of North Carolina.
Because if the state says that an officer is basically trained, and Dow, you can jump in at 660 hours, you as a manager of a entity that brings these folks in as employees, you're still waiting for this other 200-300 hours worth of training that's not state mandated, that doesn't make them any better an officer because the state mandated stuff trains them. Well, that's putting us behind the eight ball as an agency waiting for these officers.
Well, and the citizens are paying that bill. There's no longer going to BLET and really recruiting. Most officers are hired and sent to school. If we go through this, you're looking at a nighttime or an evening class, or let's say daytime, 4 months now?
4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Stretching it out to 6. I mean, you might as well get a degree for it. So go ahead, Dow.
Go back for just a second when you were talking about all the changes they want to make in BLET, and you're sitting there for 2 hours and it makes people not want to get into it. Do you not think that the people that design that program or do that class plan only give one side of the story? So that's why I'm not going to promote one entity or whatever, but that's the good thing about like the Sheriff's Association. So if you've got these guys saying, hey, look, this is the program we're going to put in, you and Sheriff Jones sat into it and you said, hey, look, I would be embarrassed to be in this field after I sat there for so long. The message that the Sheriff's Association can put out, the message that a radio show like this can put out for just the general public to understand what it is we do. You talked about a traffic stop. We've never been sued. I mean, it seems like they just give one side of the information.
And I'll give you a sample of some of the conversation came along. A public apology by law enforcement from all the wrongs in the past. That's unbelievable.
Well, first of all, if you have these young officers coming into the profession, there's no way that they could have done any of these alleged bad acts. So why have them apologize for something they've not even sworn to do?
Well, and that's like, one of our Supreme Court justices, Anita Earls and Josh Stein, which I have no problem with Josh personally. I don't agree with the TREC program, but there's a lot of stuff that's all, I guess, let's call it for what it is. When are we going to start being concerned about the victims of crime, which is what it is, but more protecting the thugs that commit the crime? And that's a strong word. I don't take it back. I make no apologies, because if you're a career repeat offender, in my book, and you're committing crimes to get our victim, you're a thug. So,
well, as Joe fixes to give us the 30, there's the 30-second card. Let me just say, and I think that you are on record as saying it, it's the criminal justice system, not the victim justice system, and I think that has to change. And hopefully by modifying these lesson plans, we'll get that done.
Absolutely. Before you go, call your brother, sister, mother. Tell them to tune in, listen to us, share us on Facebook. Call in 704-873-1400. We'll be back in about 2 minutes.
The Good, the Bad, and the Guilty with Iredell County Sheriff Darren Campbell will return after this short break on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Here is your WSIC community calendar.
Thanks to everyone who came out to the WSIC yard sale in Statesville. It was so much fun to celebrate with the world-famous Pat Shannon and the entire community. Love bluegrass music? Chatham County Line is coming to Kane Center for the Arts Friday night. Buy your tickets before they sell out. kanearts.org. Chatham County Line, this Friday night. Doors open at 7 p.m. and the show starts at 8. kanearts.org. The 20th annual Pumpkin Fest is this weekend in downtown Statesville. Starting at 10 a.m., come out to downtown Statesville for Pumpkin Fest, a full day of fun for the entire family. Pumpkin Fest, downtown Statesville, Saturday from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. For more info, visit downtownstatesville.com. Santa is coming to town. Schedule your time to take pictures with Santa at Birkdale Village. Spots are limited and must be scheduled in advance. Santa will be at Birkdale between November 19th and Christmas Eve. Appointments include time with Santa and 8 digital images from a professional photographer. For more info and to schedule your time with Santa, visit birkdalevillage.com. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays now through November 19th. Time travel to a land of legends. Jousting knights, mermaids, fairies, dragons. Oh my! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last. Don't miss it! The Carolina Renaissance Festival is sponsored by Sunbelt Rentals for all your equipment rental needs. Equipment service guaranteed. Huzzah!
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. Sunny skies and a high temperature this afternoon, getting up near 50 degrees. It'll be a windy one out there today, as we'll have gusts as high as 23 miles per hour. Heading into the overnight, the skies are going to remain clear, but that low temperature tonight is going to be freezing cold. We'll get down around 26 degrees. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
The Good, the Bad, and the Guilty continues now. Here's your host, Iredell County Sheriff Darren Campbell, 105.9, 100.7, WSIC.
Joe, you have got this music on point today, sir. I'm telling you. That is awesome, buddy. You back there working the board hard.
We're going to have to get him a get-out-of-jail-free card.
Yeah. Well, either that or a free blanket if he stays. I don't know.
You can talk, Joe. Jump in.
I don't know if I need one, to be honest.
Well, that's true, too. We should have
It's always nice to have an ace up your sleeve.
I hear socks. Socks are very, very valuable in the jail these days. Trust me. Trust me, I know.
They look good with them orange Crocs.
Who has? Oh, they wear orange.
Listen,
Crocs.
let me change that. Not really Crocs. They just look like Crocs.
They're Croc-ish.
Yeah, they're Croc-ish.
They don't deserve the Crocs.
No, because they wear them out and nobody else won't put their feet in them, so we throw them away.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So
Well,
they're
maybe
just
if you
cheap.
had socks.
We got to remember, we still in our jail. Now listen, you go by there, if you was to go in there, or if you come to the Citizen Academy, they still wear their stripes.
Okay.
So,
Wow, what a segue. Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all so much for listening today. The Good, the Bad, the Guilty here on WSIC, 100.7 FM here in Statesville, 105.9 in all of our points south and east. If you have any questions about the Iredell County Sheriff's Office, have any questions for Sheriff Campbell, please give us a call here today, 704-873-1400. Sheriff, talking about that Citizens Academy, last Thursday night we had a house full.
we did.
We had close to almost 50 people there. The largest class of citizens we've ever had to take the Citizens Academy. Dow, your folks did a wonderful job. Got a lot of feedback on your presentation. And for those of you that are wondering if Dow's camera's broke, it's just not. We're just keeping him in the dark today, so we'll just
Face for radio.
But
Sheriff still tries to tell us he does all this undercover big wheel stuff. But now, if you'd have come to the Citizens Academy, we couldn't tell him who he was, but you would have seen him.
That's true. So, Sheriff, talk about our Citizens Academy.
Oh, it was great.
It was great. This was a great group of folks.
You know, they got to do some cool stuff, and I know Adam's going to kill me, but we did let them use a little bit of specialized weapons that our CERT team uses. Taxpayer dollars go into buying those rounds, so they got to shoot a few of them.
Yep.
One of the special things, they got to see the dogs. They got to go see a waterborne, what we call salt off the lake.
That was cool.
our new Lake Patrol boat that was bought with drug dealer money.
Well,
drones.
not the newest.
But they ain't seen the newest one
Yeah,
yet.
the newest one is still getting worked on.
That is right, and it'll be done thanks to our General Assembly members and North Carolina General
That's right.
Assembly who give us some money. So, one of the biggest class, and I've had more emails about wanting to do it again. I want my spouse. Can I come repeat it with them? And simulators.
Yes.
And I got to say thank you to some of those elected officials. Vicki Sawyer came and spoke. I seen Melissa Needham, our chairwoman, our county commissioner, Burt Conley, and Gene Halp. I know had a little commitment. So did Scotty and everybody else. So it was a good thing.
Yes. So if you are interested, if you are remotely interested, now would be a great time to call the sheriff's office. That number is 704-878-3180. Sorry, I'm looking at WSIC's phone number.
You can tell them how to report a crime. There you go.
Absolutely. But if you're interested, please give us a call. The next class is tentatively scheduled for March of 2024. Got to wait for it to get a little bit warmer, so our outside stuff is comfortable to attend and watch. And our men and women jumping off the boat in the Lake Norman won't freeze to death in that icy water. But it is a great time, great event. Sheriff Campbell always tasks those of us, Dow, and you can testify to this, that our instructors got to be bigger and better every class. Every class.
And I got through Brad Stroud's, but I knew that. I was trying to count commissioner. I was trying to remember 5 at
Yes.
the same time. So Brad did. Yes, but it always has to be bigger and better.
It's always bigger and better.
So next year we're going to have skydivers and
The helicopter.
Well, we've had a helicopter at the
Teen Academy.
So maybe we
Sure
can make
have.
that happen.
Yep.
Well, hey, you can't say it's not working. We got more people than we've ever had, and had to cut some people off, which I don't. You know me, I don't like doing that, but we just didn't have enough instructors.
But what I find satisfying is, especially at the graduation ceremony, whenever you give them the folks the opportunity to give us any feedback, and to just hear the comments about, wow, didn't think it was like that. Wow, the jail's much cleaner than I thought it was going to be. Wow, your officers are really great. Wow, all this stuff was bought with dope dealer money, hadn't cost us taxpayers a dime. That's really satisfying to those of us that work here, that are instructors, that try to put the best show on for our citizens.
Well, you know, the WSOC reporter was up there, and they said, "Why do you do this?" I think the biggest thing is, one, is to build relationships with our citizens. Going back to the BLET and the defund the movement, we're so far past that now, doing the Spooktacular, the teen academies, but to have them come and say, "Well, I didn't know you had that capability." If their family is a victim of violent crime or a drowning or an assault, I want to know we have, or missing persons or an autistic child, that we have those capabilities here.
Yes.
And we don't get to write about it every day, but every one person tells 2 people, 2 people tell 4, 4 goes to 8, and it just goes on down the road. So
yeah, they really enjoyed the crime scene this year. I know one of our several of our crime scene officers and Patrick put a crime scene on, and they got to work that and learn some of the techniques that we use. And I think it just gives them a behind the scenes look at really the difference between CSI, Miami, New Orleans, Australia, Hawaii, and the actual real boots on the ground law enforcement.
Well, and they understand when we explain reduction in crime, and then you've got Dow, and I got to, hats off. I've got to give everybody patrol, detention facility, our criminal investigations, our crime scene, the girls up front permit and stuff. Everybody has a part of this with the citizens, but your group, everybody's usually interested in SWAT and narcotics, but when you start talking about the prices of how drugs have plummeted or how that drives crime down, I think you even taught one of the classes. What was the biggest thing they asked you? And I know we got to get back on with our
They couldn't
section.
believe, and it was the last 2 classes that basically had the same thing. They couldn't believe the amount of whatever substance you want it to be. Let's just use the hot topic for the day and call it crystal meth. They couldn't believe the amount of crystal meth that actually makes it to Iredell from somewhere like the southern border. So we made sure and say, as the sheriff has said before in the past, we are as much a border state now
Absolutely.
as Texas, Arizona, or anything like that, just by the amount of drugs and the volume that we see coming in here, and the people that we catch, whether it's with the ACE team, whether it's with the ICE team. We'll talk a little bit later on about a traffic stop a couple of weeks ago out on the interstate where this individual was here committing a criminal act, and he was not supposed to be outside of a certain area from the border, and he was all the way up here. So, a lot of those questions from them were comments.
He messed around and found out.
Yeah, he did. But they couldn't believe what it is that we saw here.
What? Y'all are no fun at all.
Off the air. Okay, so moving right along. Almost had to hit the edit
Oh, yeah.
button.
I done forgot where was going next. Let's see. Let me check.
Anyway,
Let me check my media packet.
Talking about our officers, and it really is awesome to work with our men and women day to day and see the cool things that they do and learn these folks as individuals outside of law enforcement. But was very happy to be able to announce that Sergeant Nathaniel Hodges was this year's winner of the Mooresville Lake Norman Exchange Club Deputy of the Year. We're just tickled to death with him. We had him on Facebook, and I think we need to get him in here one day, Sheriff. Or we may have already with his canine.
I think he came before.
You're just sitting here. I think you're right, but he's a road sergeant. He's a canine officer. Just an all-around good guy. And
SWAT team member.
So he was recognized, and it's really cool to have folks outside of law enforcement recognize our personnel. Just today I got an email from some folks that dealt with one of our deputies just this morning on a call, and they wanted to send in a compliment. So men and women, our deputies, our detectives, just out there getting it done every day.
And there's so many to choose from to get this award. Obviously, Nathaniel does a good job, deserves it, but there's so many other deserving deputies also in the future. And you was talking about getting emails. You seen the one I sent you about the girl that had a flat tire traveling through here, and take the time to send it back to us. And that's, if you're listening, we're appreciative of that. It goes a long way when you send these officers. So,
it's just it's one thing to hear an attaboy from the sheriff or Dow or me even and some of the other supervisors, but when you're getting feedback from the community, that really means a lot, that they took their time to email or call or stop by, which is really cool. And then talking about Sheriff, and I know one of the things you're going to talk about here in the next coming segments is our community involvement, how we can start working with youth at a young age to help prevent crime. And we were tickled to death last Friday to be able to go down and work with over 2,000 Iredell Statesville School sixth graders. They had an event called Career on Wheels. I think it was down at the fairgrounds, and I think you stopped in for a little while. But we had our Bearcat, which is one of our armored personnel vehicles.
Which we did find out the kids know how to use the radio on.
Yes, well, we almost had a faux pas there, but yes, that
wasn't us.
No, it wasn't us, but so we'll have to turn the radio off on it from now on. But just another cool event to take something like a Bearcat and be able to use it to draw the kids' attention, to be able to talk about the sheriff's office, talk about the CERT team, but not only that, to talk about how we would use it in the event of a school shooting or the event, God forbid, of something of that magnitude occurring. That's why you bought it. That's why we used dope dealers' money to get it, because you had the foresight to know that we may need a vehicle like that.
It does, and it works well, and they enjoy it. We got the dogs out there, the tent, and the kids enjoy it. Listen, you told me before, if you want to get ahead of crime rates and future offenders, get involved with them young.
Absolutely.
Because those will be your future offenders or good productive citizens. So I think you got a good press release that before our 2 minutes, if you want to read, we'll come back in and talk a little bit about Dow.
Actually, I've got a couple, but so let me just
Well, we can wrap this up, and you can come back and hit that real quick.
Yeah,
come
yeah.
back, but
You know, one thing you talked about the Bearcat last night at our Spooktacular, because you touched on that, probably well over 6,000 people. I've never seen the like of people in all my days.
If they know where the all the way up past Water Street, back down.
It was almost from the tax office down past the registered deeds office, through our parking lot, and up and around the courthouse parking lot. It was amazing. But there again, the Bearcat, our officers, our canines, having our deputies in uniform, having our deputies using their vehicles, their personal vehicles, and their county vehicles to have the trunk or treat. Just another way to show the community we are involved. We want to keep you safe.
And just some of the ones I remember, I think Spider-Man was there, Batman was there.
Oh, Wolverine was there.
Aquaman was there.
Batgirl, because I know Batgirl or Batwoman, Batlady.
You know we're going to get in trouble because we forgot somebody, but they was so many of the officers, their spouses,
Wonder Woman
and their
was
kids.
there.
Oh, yeah. And some good costumes last night.
Oh, listen, we had a costume contest, and we should have the winners up here hopefully on our Facebook page. So if you want to see some pictures from last night, go to Iredell County Sheriff's Office Facebook page where we've got those posted.
About 3 different times.
Yeah. The Sheriff, when we come back, if you're interested in narcotics investigation or crime reduction in Iredell County, please give us a call, 704-873-1400.
That's right, and we'll be back.
There's more of the good, the bad, and the guilty with Iredell County Sheriff Darren Campbell on the way from the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
This week at Target, you'll find different early Black Friday deals. Get fun deals on the latest tech, toys, and video games, plus smart deals on small appliances, floor care, and so much more. At Target, you'll discover different early Black Friday deals each week. And get what you need for the holidays fast with free drive up or score free shipping when you spend $35 or use your red card at Target.com. Get low prices and early Black Friday deals only at Target. Exclusions apply.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more Straight Talk. Now you can get a Walmart Plus membership, plus not pay for it, because it's included with Straight Talk wireless plans. You get free delivery with Walmart plus a Paramount Plus subscription included. Plus, you pay less for gas. That's a lot of pluses.
Only Straight Talk gives you unlimited 5G data and Walmart Plus included on select plans for free.
Straight Talk Wireless, available at Walmart.
Requires service on Gold or Platinum Unlimited. One offer per eligible account. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. Additional terms apply.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. Sunny skies and a high temperature this afternoon, getting up near 50 degrees. It'll be a windy one out there today, as we'll have gusts as high as 23 miles per hour. Heading into the overnight, the skies are going to remain clear, but that low temperature tonight is going to be freezing cold. We'll get down around 26 degrees. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now, and the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
A psoriasis flare-up can make a walk in the park, well, no walk in the park.
It's that obvious, huh? I've tried so many lotions and creams, but I still have symptoms.
So those don't do enough to treat the inflammation beneath the skin, leaving you with those uncontrolled symptoms.
Makes sense, but what else can I do?
You can get real with your dermatologist so they can help you get clear. Make an appointment and, oh, you're already on it.
Hi, yes, I'd like to make an appointment.
Get real clear about psoriasis at letsgetrealclear.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Fall is here, and Little Shavers has the supplies you need. Wheat straw, pine needle, grass seed, pelletized line, landscape edging, and railroad cross ties. Got a deck that needs staining? Little Shavers has PPG paints and stains at prices you can afford. Fall is a great time to replace your furnace filters at Little Shavers. Get the products you need at reasonable prices from Little Shavers, 3301 Salisbury Road in Statesville.
Prioritizing your health is one of the best ways to take care of yourself. From routine visits to the joys of pregnancy to the illnesses that stop you in your tracks, Iredell Health System will be by your side. Learn more at iredellhealth.org.
This is Fred Lowry at Lowry Drug. We now have our own brand of full-spectrum hemp extract, also known as CBD oil. I personally manage this product as it was grown on my farm here in Iredell County. It was then processed and bottled here in Statesville. This is a true herbal extract with all the medicinal components intact. A product you can trust to be authentic. And since there is no wholesaler, it's at a price you can afford. Try it at Lowry Drug on Hartness Road in Statesville.
Listen up, Carolinas. It's Jeep Adventure Days at the #1 Jeep and Ram dealer, Lake Norman Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, with the largest new Jeep inventory in the country. And we guarantee to beat any deal in the nation. I-77 exit 28, LakeNormanChrysler.com.
Now more of the good, the bad, and the guilty with Iredell County Sheriff Darren Campbell on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
I wish Dow was on camera. He's over there looking like a conductor in an orchestra.
See, I think of like Orson Welles or like Maltese Falcon or something like that.
It's better than Inner Circle
awesome.
the other week.
Oh, no.
Just want to say welcome back. Hey, listen, as always, call in 704-873-1400. Tune in to us 100.7 in Statesville and everywhere else, 105.9. Got to throw a shout out. We see in the comments, Sissy Odell and Carl Mitchell. Appreciate you joining in and
absolutely
hollering at us. We love people to come in and comment.
Give us a call.
Yeah, give us a call. We'll talk all day long. So,
well, at least till Joe turns us off.
Mutes us.
Yeah.
I believe he muted me. He just muted us.
Now, please don't show my wife that button, Joe. She'll have me muted all the time.
And then I'll be doing every time Joe talks, we'll ring the bell.
Yeah, there you go.
So, Bill, you want to lead us
Yes.
off? We got a lot of stuff, and this is going to take a while because it covers such a broad spectrum, and that's basically our crime rates reduction.
Yep.
And our philosophy, which may not be what a lot of your inner cities and a lot of your other states may be doing, but it's definitely worked well for us.
Yep.
And actually, in federal grant money, it's cost us money because now our crime rates has went down. We don't get as much
money.
JAG money.
But we're not going to stop.
We're not
to
going
get
to
the
stop.
Fed money.
We're not going to stop.
We're
So
going to keep protecting the citizens of Iredell County.
we've got Dow, and Dow oversees all of our narcotics, which drives 75% of our crime overall. And I hear the comments, hey, they're just addicts, they've had a bad time. That's a small percent of the population. You heard me say it before. If you need help, we'll help you, but selling drugs is not the way to do it. And some of our partners we work with and different things like that, how you was talking about being a border state, we've said it before when you was talking about cocaine, and we've talked about this 2 years ago, and we judge it. When I say cocaine, we basically judge the price of a senior officer in a kilogram of cocaine because we know how much it drives other crimes. And I think you said the other day it's below $20,000 a kilo, which was upwards of $45 not long ago. And it's simple supply and demand. So my thing to that is, if it's that cheap, you get 5 people to save their lunch money up for a couple of years, you can buy a kilogram of cocaine, and you go out here and start you a drug business, and that breeds the crimes and everything else inside your communities. So hit it from where you want to go, wherever you want to start the subject at. Let's go.
Let me jump on two things right quick.
Okay.
The whole argument of, well, they're just addicts. You know what? I don't think that dog hunts anymore, Sheriff. Just Bill Hamby's opinion.
Not from what we've seen.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Look at our latest roundup. 16 individuals. 15 of them have criminal histories. 8 or 9 were on probation, and 1 is a known gang member. Those people are in slinging dope, selling dope to make money.
So they don't got to get up and go to work and pay taxes. So they don't have to get up and go to work like us working folks and our listeners. Well, they've got a drug problem. Okay, you've heard the sheriff say over and over and over again, and there's enough resources out there that if someone wants help, they can get help. They can get help for free. But that wow, sorry. And you're not going to hear a lot of people say that, especially putting it over there way on TVs. But I don't have a bit of problem.
But Dow, and I know you've seen it because you've been there and you're still there. But if they'll sell dope to an undercover officer, they'll sell dope to anybody. And I don't know the last time, even when I was up there eons ago, and you're still there doing it, supervising now, I don't know the last time that they checked an ID or run a background. They're just like, you got the money, here's the dope.
So, you're
sort of like the purchase permit. We need to hit on that for long, but go ahead.
Yeah.
You're both right. Okay, Bill's right in if they'll sell it to someone that they just met or that they're a very, small acquaintance with, they'll do it to a teenager in high school or
it's about the
junior high
dollar.
school. And the sheriff's right where it's merely economics and it's purely the underlying factor is the almighty dollar. When in 2012, so we're seeing mostly crystal meth now. So in 2012, when you had to pay $1,100, $1,200, $1,300.
And actually, before you even say, I know where you're going to go with that answer, and I really want people to pay attention and think about that when you say this number of and think about supply and demand and borders and where it comes from when you say the price that you're paying now, and let you know how flooded our communities are.
Yeah. So, say $1,200 to $1,300 an ounce. For people like, how much is an ounce? You're sitting at the restaurant eating breakfast one morning, pick you 28 little packets of sugar up, take the top off of them, pour them out on the table. That's going to be about an ounce. So they're paying about $1,200 back in 2012 for that. We can get it now from anywhere from $160 to $250 an ounce.
So from $1,200 to $160.
It's cheaper. It's cheaper right now, and I've never seen it. And I don't think anyone that other officers that the three of us know that work in other counties and things, that do the same kind of business. I don't think anybody has ever seen it this way where that particular drug is cheaper than marijuana.
And where does that particular drug come from?
Well, it's not grown out of the ground. It's made somewhere else far away from here, and it comes across the southern border and ends up in
And we
Statesville.
know that. I mean, they can say it's not landed on a beach. It's not landed at the airport. I'm sure somebody's got some meth that lands at the airport. But we know from our interdiction, we know from our buddies in Arizona, Texas, Nevada, or California, we know that that's where it's coming in.
Think about it. And I want to stay on meth because that's what we're seeing right now. But heroin, it requires you to grow the poppy plant somewhere.
And we're not growing that in Iredell County.
All right, keep going with it.
They did in Catawba. Remember that? They tried. No, go ahead.
Cocaine requires you to grow the coca plant somewhere, but not where.
Not in Iredell County.
All right. Marijuana, it requires you to grow the plant somewhere. We haven't seen it where.
We haven't hit a patch in Iredell County in a long time.
And you know why? Because it's too expensive to grow here. We can get it across the border.
It's too expensive to grow when you get it across the border, just like it's too expensive to try to go out and steal the items to make crystal meth when it's a lot cheaper to buy whatever product comes across the southern border.
I'm glad you brought that up, Dal, because for our listeners out there, I remember, and it wasn't too many years ago, Sheriff, where we actually, North Carolina was getting really high up in the count of states for what we called shake and bake or the Sudafed meth. What we are talking about today is not the shake and bake meth.
No.
This is not Bubba and Scooter out in the outbuilding shaking up some 2-liter bottles and some Gatorade bottles.
No, that's gone.
This is hardcore, cartel-funded, lab-grade quality chemicals methamphetamine.
So meth that's cooked in, people typically think of it, in the backwoods somewhere in a shack, beside a creek or a well. That's about
that.
No, that's about 40 to 60% pure. We're talking about stuff that when you test it's 90, 95, 98, 99%, 100% pure crystal meth.
Yes.
Well, we knew it's produced in super labs, and it's so easy to get across. And, I think that's the message our viewers need to hear. I mean, we can talk about drug arrest and everything, but how hard it is for us with drugs that cheap, which does, if we don't take the dealers off the streets, it creates more addicts. And with more addicts comes more larcenies, break-ins, and violent crime. So for us to be able to compete with lowering crime rates, and Bill, I want you to read them crime rates here in a little bit.
I will, yes, sir.
At the same time, when you're getting an ounce of methamphetamine, which is over 1,000% decrease from what you was paying, there's not even, anybody knows anything about margins in business, we see it in narcotics, you wouldn't think, there is no margins from the wholesale to the retail, honestly, for drug dealers to be doing this other than a small amount of profit at these prices.
We're seeing groups, gangs, certain sets of individuals that would never, ever years ago think about participating, whether it would be in crystal meth or not, that are leaving whatever they're normally used to doing, going right to that business because it's easily accessible, it's cheap to transport, and your profit margins are better than anything else you got going.
And your courts, for the most part, they want to plead it and let it go. We do these roundups. Those roundups are in addition to all the other rest.
Well, before you start the roundups, what's the
that's
saying?
A great point.
What's the saying? If the benefit of the crime...
Anytime the benefit of the crime outweighs the risk of the punishment, you will have crime.
There you go.
I mean, that's a simple term. That's criminology, I think, was in college years ago.
That's like a little kid. I mean, if mom and daddy tells that child to be quiet and the child don't, or if he's showing out and they say, well, you don't stop, you don't stop, you don't stop. If there's no risk of punishment, why would the child stop? Same thing with the criminal. Yeah. If there's no threat of punishment or it's a smack on the wrist, why wouldn't I be back out there?
So that's the reason we use social media and try to make sure we do the round. It keeps them honest because if the dealers don't know who they're selling to is going to talk to us, then it makes them so uncomfortable. And Dow will hear it. We should play some of them recordings. They do not want to come here. They definitely don't want to stand in jail because we do not have TV weights or anything. Go ahead, Dow.
And something I'm curious about that I didn't know. Now, even though we put the list together, we go out, do the cases, work on it and send it in so we can get everybody done. I can't tell you how many of the 16 or the people that we've arrested. Well, I can tell you how many of the people since we've arrested since then. But of those 16 who are currently out on a bond when they get picked back up a second or third time.
Yep. And that's bond's a whole nother kettle of fish that we got to do a show on at some point in time.
And we will. And the thing is, let the community know what we're up against here, trying to keep crime rates low. We'll talk a little bit about this more when we come back in just a few minutes.
More of The Good, the Bad, and the Guilty with Iredell County Sheriff Darren Campbell coming up on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Thanks to everyone who came out to the WSIC yard sale in Statesville. It was so much fun to celebrate with the world-famous Pat Shannon and the entire community. Love bluegrass music? Chatham County Line is coming to Kane Center for the Arts Friday night. Buy your tickets before they sell out. kanearts.org. Chatham County Line, this Friday night. Doors open at 7 p.m. and the show starts at 8. kanearts.org. The 20th Annual Pumpkin Fest is this weekend in downtown Statesville. Starting at 10 a.m., come out to downtown Statesville for Pumpkin Fest, a full day of fun for the entire family. Pumpkin Fest, downtown Statesville, Saturday from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. For more info, visit downtownstatesville.com. Santa is coming to town. Schedule your time to take pictures with Santa at Birkdale Village. Spots are limited and must be scheduled in advance. Santa will be at Birkdale between November 19th and Christmas Eve. Appointments include time with Santa and 8 digital images from a professional photographer. For more info and to schedule your time with Santa, visit birkdalevillage.com. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays now through November 19th. Time travel to a land of legends. Jousting knights, mermaids, fairies, dragons. Oh my! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last. Don't miss it! The Carolina Renaissance Festival is sponsored by Sunbelt Rentals for all your equipment rental needs. Equipment service guaranteed. Huzzah!
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. Sunny skies and a high temperature this afternoon, getting up near 50 degrees. It'll be a windy one out there today, as we'll have gusts as high as 23 miles per hour. Heading into the overnight, the skies are going to remain clear, but that low temperature tonight is going to be freezing cold. We'll get down around 26 degrees. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Stop dreaming about the perfect lawn and make it a reality. Drum Landscape Supply now offers personalized lawn plans. Visit drumlandscapesupply.com and collaborate with our experts. Drum Landscape Supply, your local one-stop landscape shop.
The Good, the Bad, and the Guilty continues now. Here's your host, Iredell County Sheriff Darren Campbell, 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
See, I got to pay attention to Joe's hand signals over here. I don't know if he's swatting at a flyer telling me to start talking.
Or having a seizure.
That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in, or staying tuned in, rather, to The Good, the Bad, the Guilty here on WSIC. Lord help us. 100.7 FM here in Statesville, 105.9 in all of our places south and east. So glad that you're taking your time to tune in today, and hopefully we're giving you guys some good information about the drug trade and how we attack the drug trade here in Iredell County. And Sheriff, I know you recently tasked us with putting together some numbers for our yearly report, and if you want to indulge me quickly, I will just tell our listeners who may not know that since you became sheriff, which is why we take everything back to 2014, which is where these numbers come from. So from 2014 to 2022, overall crime rate in Iredell County has decreased by 55%.
Good people.
55%. The violent crime rate has decreased 14.7%. Property crime rate, which is a lot of that's driven by drug use, and people trying to break in to get drugs, 59.4% reduction since 2014 through 2022. Last year, our property crime report clearance rate, so if we had a report, we cleared 70% of those reports, and I will put those numbers up against any other agency in the state. Of the 1,100 criminal investigations that were assigned, 695 were cleared. Dow, this really comes into a lot of your purview.
And that really puts that overall crime. If you were a victim here, now look how.
Yeah, if you were a victim in 2014, let me back up. Of 100,000 people, which is what the state of North Carolina and the FBI based these numbers off of. So every 100,000 citizens, if there was a chance, there was 1,642 people of that 100,000 that was going to be victims of crime. Now that number is down to 742. Again, that's 742 out of 100,000, which is over a 55% reduction. That's a pretty good number.
Officers done a good job. I mean, it comes to the community events, getting out to things on Saturday morning, having the Spooktacular, Citizens Academy, SROs in our schools, K-9s at birthday parties.
Mm-hmm.
Every bit of that plays a part, because with building those relationships, the community tells you what's going on. They're our eyes and ears.
Yeah, they're great.
That's Dow's bread and butter.
The community don't tell you those phone calls that they make to their loved ones from the detention center, where they have a few choice words to say about their accommodations, and they say, and I quote, "I won't even sell dope."
Oh, I thought he was going to say, I was going to beep you.
No, and they say, and I quote, "I don't even sell dope in Iredell."
Joe had the button ready to push there in case.
Well, we had to tell one, not that it may get, I hope it's been a trial, had to tell her that it wouldn't come to Iredell County. We had told her that Mecklenburg had annexed part of it, so she'd do the deed.
No, she actually said that if she known that she would have to come back to Statesville, she'd have just stayed in Charlotte.
Yeah.
Music to our ears. And the guy that called his mom and said, I don't know where I got locked up at, but they don't have TV, they don't have weights, and I got to sleep with one other dude.
In a nutshell.
In a two-man cell, let's clarify that.
To me, the best one, though, was when our interstate team stopped a guy from Georgia, and his sister called Raising Cane saying that we couldn't put his address and face mugshot on our social media outlet because they didn't allow that in Atlanta.
And our podunk community, it was awful. And I said, ma'am, it's like I told her, don't commit crime here, commit it in Georgia.
That's right.
Otherwise, don't steal guns from or Amazon distribution centers.
That's exactly right. But just two more sets of numbers that I'm proud of, Dow, and I know you guys are. I know the sheriff is. Since 2014. Since 2014, the estimated street value of drugs seized by the Iredell County Sheriff's Office, $36,142,392. Now, let me put that in perspective.
Say that one more time.
$36,142,392.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, exactly. Let me put that in perspective. How many overdose deaths, how many crimes have we prevented by taking that amount of money? How many domestics, how many assaults, how many sexual assaults, how many armed robberies have we prevented by taking that amount of drugs off the streets here in Iredell County?
Well, and I think it tells you, you revert back to your numbers. Look at the reduction in crime.
Absolutely.
That is why, because removing those takes them out, and know the other crimes is tied to the narcotics nexus don't happen.
Yep.
So I'd much rather be proactive than reactive. I have a lot of agencies here, not a lot, a couple agencies here locally that does not see the same views. We may be too harsh on career repeat offenders.
No.
And I'll say one thing, and Dow, get back to yours. Remember this. Education, which is SROs, visiting, education is a lot cheaper and beneficial than rehabilitation, in my opinion, ever could be, because if you never have to have the rehabilitation just through educating them, that's cheap.
There you go.
Well, I can speak to one thing that Bill was saying.
If it's about social media,
no.
That's a, no. You know where I'm going. Go ahead.
I do.
We'll talk about that too, but go ahead.
So last year, we did about 22 overdose death investigations. Now, anything we get any kind of OD death where there's a controlled substance involved. Now, I'm not talking about something
not everyone's a criminal.
To you. Not everybody's a criminal, but if it's a controlled substance that's we'll catch it. We've only done 9 so far this year.
Unbelievable.
And of those 20, I think 18 of them was heroin, fentanyl, related back in 2022. And of the 9 so far this year, maybe 4 of them or 5 of them have been that. So we're going to drop down, 50%, maybe not 50% in having to investigate overdose deaths.
To me, that's awesome. I mean, if we can prevent a death, if we can prevent an overdose, that's what it's all about.
Well, that's sort of like violent crime teams. I see Charlotte and others talking, hey, we got a violent crime reduction team, but you have no narcotics team. Narcotics breeds most of your violent crime.
It breeds a lot of your violent crime, but it's such a great deterrent to have. I mean, to have a group of detectives and ACE team members and the interstate guys up there, the interstate guys are nationally known. They've been picked up on wire intercepts before. Hey, don't go through Iredell, get off 77, go around, don't do that. The ACE team can basically go anywhere that something's going on, and it shuts it down. Go back to the car B&Es up in the north end. Ace guys go up there. They're up there for about 2 days. You put it on social media. What happens?
It goes away. And also we talking about in 2014 something called, nobody run the word around, but it's worked well, hybrid investigations, meaning your criminal investigators got to work with your narcotics, because when you interview a drug dealer, he's going to tell you most of the time who's he's getting it from, or the stolen property to train for for drugs. And those are the ones the criminal investigators or the property crimes are investigating. So it's all tied together.
And I think it's also hugely important that when we see these trends, and there again, I hearken back to you being members of various associations, and Dow, you having resources and friends at the state and federal level that work outside of North Carolina. We get to hear, to see these trends, to see what they're doing in California, to see what's going on in Texas, to see what's going on in Arizona. We hear about the cartels and how they do things, and we're able to respond or to anticipate that type of behavior here in Iredell County.
Let's elaborate on that a little bit, and I want to throw Leo, Heath, and Matt and the boys out on the interstate are really good bones. So you talk about having networks and friends and classes that you can attend and people you can pick up the phone and call to kind of answer questions or kind of give you guidance. So those guys go to a specialized interdiction class the other week, specifically targeting commercial motor vehicles. Okay, big tractor.
Because we've seen the trends.
Seen the trends. We worked them when I was out there for years. Only until the past couple of years, only one had a seizure made off of it. They get out of class on Friday. They're off work Saturday, Sunday. They come back to work Monday. And Monday afternoon, I get a phone call from Sergeant Hayes that says, "Hey, look, I've got this tractor and trailer stopped. This guy isn't supposed to be this far up in the United States because of the driver's license he possesses and the paperwork he has on his truck. He can only deliver so far around." You go out, you interview him, you figure out what's going on. He doesn't have a whole lot of knowledge about what he's doing. He's got $96,400 and it's $96,000 or $94,000. $94,260 hidden inside the vehicle, wrapped up in a Ziploc freezer bag.
So it's not like a lot of people here were taking innocent people's money. This is wrapped up, sealed, and hidden compartment.
Wrapped up, sealed up. It was in a commercial motor vehicle that had a false floor, so it was a aftermarket installed false.
And I believe you said he even had a guy just come up and give him a bag. He didn't know what was in it. Now that don't happen to me.
I wish it would happen.
I'm still waiting to find bags of money.
Me too.
I got to take bags of trash out of the house every Tuesday, but
those are good. That's the good thing about having to say, hey, look, these guys are out meeting. They know who to call. They know what to do. They know what to see, and it's just not me. It's them. It's the ACE team. It's the detectives. It's all of them.
And Dal, we can talk. And Joe, what I was telling you, I was adding in it. You was holding up a little sign for 4 minutes. I said we need about 14 more minutes. But the benefit of the relationships, the app, and the citizens giving us, trusting us to give us information. There's a case yesterday. Agency work. 24 hours. Had a vehicle found.
Tell the story real quick. You come up to the office of the week. About 2 weeks ago, you had a lady. She emailed you or come down.
Sir.
She emailed you or come down to the office.
She came to the office,
and I can't say where in the county it is because something's currently ongoing with it.
Yes.
But she complained about a problem that she had. Bill called me. I knew immediately. I'm like, hey, look, we're getting ready to solve that. If she can just give us a little bit.
You copied us on an email. I do remember saying we're already working. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
We're already handling it.
Arrests were made.
Some things happened. We were able to do some things in order to fix her problem that
didn't jeopardize the case.
Didn't jeopardize the case. What happens about 3 days after?
She came into the office and wanted to thank me and wanted to thank us for in fixing her problem, for taking some folks to jail that were part of that problem, and wanted to thank us for being responsive to her concerns.
Well, it's like, and that's great. It's like the other day we did a search warrant, and the people come out of the house and actually clapping hands. That means a lot.
When we walked away from that one, when Jerry and I walked up the street from that one, we had people coming out of the house thanking us. Hey, I appreciate you guys being down here.
Well,
and that means a lot.
It does. Y'all catch up with us next Wednesday. We're going to have to cut away from the show. If you need us, contact us. Follow us on Facebook, the app, and think about next week and give us a call.
Yeah.